So we have this problem in our task title is just displaying nothing at all because we have our value set to nothing. And then also we notice that when we try to log in, and assuming also when we try to create an account, um, these text inputs aren't just like we're we're unable to write anything in and have it saved. Now we do know that these are actually storing it because when I go down and hit save, we can actually see what we had previously written there. So it's kind of working, but we're overwriting our value for us. So what can we do? Here's my thought. We can have our value be sort of like have an internal state on our, where is it? Wrong one. Here, we can have internal state and then set that to a use state. So we actually have that right here. We're going to go ahead and move this up because I am going to update state inside of onChange. So let's see what I mean by here. So we're in BB text input. We're taking in an optional value. So I just want use state. We're just going to set this to be, I don't even need this to be move anymore. We're going to make you be a new string new. Now, the reason why I can't do the other thing, what we were trying to do, this doesn't need to be a unique block anymore either. There we go. Is because the first time that our application loads, it renders everything with empty data. So in this case, the value is an empty string or possibly a none. Most likely it's an option within some empty string inside. And then Udux loads from local storage, and then it then grabs everything and passes all the data through everything, re-renders all the components, including this text input one, and but unfortunately we've already set the initial state to be whatever we had in props, which was an empty string. So a couple things we need to do here. First of all, in onChange, we want to now take in this state and update it when it does change. So let's go ahead and do that here. So we're going to do a state equals state.clone. Not press page down on my keyboard. And now we're going to clone this value here. So that way we can now do a state.set value here. So now we're setting it twice. We're emitting it up and also resetting internal state up to be whatever the value is. This value is this deref state clone. Okay, that should still be good here. But we now need to, whenever we get a new, like the value first gets set, we now need to handle that. So we're going to use effect for that. So I'm going to create a block here so we can move in our initial value and state so we can set them. So we're going to do let state equals state.clone. We're going to do let our props value equals props.value.clone. Now I want to clone it at this point so I get the option for props value. And that's going to be important because if we don't have any value passed in, I don't want it to be constantly trying to reassign an empty string into state. That will cause us to have an infinite loop. Okay, so let's now use effect. And inside of here, it's just going to be a very basic statement. If our state is empty, so if state dot, we're going to do a deref. We deref that out, and if you're, okay, so if you're empty, and our props value is something, so props value, oh, we need to move you in. and props value is sum. So if both of these are true, then it means that we're still on their initial state. So let's go ahead and now set our state to be what we have in props. So state.set to be our props value. And we're going to unwrap this, which is perfectly fine. We know we can because we already know that it is a sum. And of course, the end of the use effect, we don't have anything to clean up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove you. Actually, I think that is a better sort of like no op callback or closure to return. This seems to be happy. Let's go ahead and come back to here. Oh, and now we see my details. We're logging out what we have here. So I can do a bang, bang, bang. And that updates. And I can continue to sort of play around and set it all up for me. Now, if I do delete everything, it does reset to the beginning because that becomes like, hey, it's as deleted. So if we wanted to handle that and like not allow something, then we'd probably want to like just have a is like first load, or have we done an initial set, and then that would be fairly easy for us to do as well. Let's add that in here. So we're going to do a let initial load equals, we're going to do a use state. Our initial function, we're just going to say it's a false. We have not loaded yet. We're going to bring that in here. And so if this is false, okay, so, and this is false, so, and initial load, we're going to deref, and then I want to make you not this. So I should be able to actually, instead of doing deref like that, we should be able to do deref like that. Okay, so if not initial load and props have something in it, and, or rather the value has something in it, and state is empty, then set that state to be there. And then also we're going to do initial load. That's set now to be true. We have loaded. Okay, so back to here. We reset you. See, we have empty that again. Let's see, not initial load. Are you actually setting what we expect it to? Are you running? I want to double check that that's what we think it is. I'm going to do a log on initial load. So it's going to be a deref initial load. False, then true. Okay, that's a good sign. Because I want it to be set. It can't be just initial load. Well, we've set it here at this point in time. If you're empty, so I want it to be set. Okay, so probably not. This might have to be two different if statements here, because this is the same thing. The first time we run through use effect, nothing has happened. We don't have anything in here. We have something in props value, but props value is is something, but that doesn't really tell us what that is. So once we get inside of here, we only want to set if we're also, so another if statement. So if our deref initial load, so not deref initial load, then go ahead and set this set you to be true at that point. Let's try this. We're still getting false and then true. So then you're setting to true. I was hoping that would, let's see. Oh, but I'm doing the same stuff. We have to make sure that props not only has something, but actually has something like is not empty. So let's do this now. If props dot props value unwrap, if you're let's see, we have is empty. We'll do the is empty. So if you're not is empty, and not initial load, you need to be dereferenced, then we set you. Let's see. Okay, we have props value unwrap. We are getting, okay, so we're unwrapping and taking ownership here, aren't we? Yeah, we've moved it, and we don't want to take ownership. There is a as ref we can do. Let's see. As, so we can do it as ref. Well, that converts it. Okay, so then we can unwrap you and then check to see if you're empty. And then is empty. Oh, then we can unwrap you. Okay, you're happy there. Okay, we're back to having this all work. So if I add you in, we're all happy, everything's good. And then if I delete you completely, now it's reset to nothing. So this is what we have to do here. Now clipping is yelling at us. Let's fix this really quickly. So if statement can be collapsed. Let's see if I can open up you. Can I have it? Yeah, collapse nested block. Save you. See if it's happy with this. You called unwrap on props value after checking its variable with isSum. It wants to use like an if let or match in here. I'm gonna ignore that for right now, but things are still working. Okay, so that's what we wanted to see was things are still working. Okay, so let's review really quickly. We created an internal state for our text input. If we have a value, we go ahead and set it to that value in a use effect. The use effect runs every time that the lifecycle methods run. So on first load and then on every data change and re-render after that. But because it runs on every single one, in order to prevent an infinite loop, we have to have an if statement here. This if statement gets to be a little bit gnarly. So basically, if our state is empty and we haven't loaded yet, well, maybe we can get away with that because we have this initial load set, like we have loaded. So what if we get rid of you? Go straight to if we have something in our props.value, and our props value, let's try this. Let's see, building. Let's see, we could reset that way, and that works. Okay, excellent. Yes. Okay, so if props.value, so if we have something in props.value, and we don't have, let's see, we're props value has something in it, and props value is not an empty string, and this is not the initial load. So if all of those things are true, now if I want to like make sure it actually runs the most efficiently, I'm going to put the not initial load first. So it just checks that. If it's not true, it won't check anything else. Not dereference for initial load. If all these things are true, then it's going to go ahead and set the state to be whatever the props value is. So the first time we get data being passed into the component, that's what happens. Then initial load gets set to true. Now, if we really want to, we can also set initial load to be false at this point in time. We can say initial load, I'm going to set you to be false when we unload, actually not, no semicolon. So just in case something happens and we need to return this, can I move you? I might have to do another initial load. Okay, now you're fine. Oh, it doesn't like this now because it's a infinite loop. I have crashed the browser. So we're gonna go ahead and not do that. Had it working just fine. So basically, if it's that first load and we have all the stuff, then go ahead and set everything here. Otherwise, oh, and also mark that we've now loaded. Otherwise, don't do anything at all. And just return this thing where we're not really doing any part of that. The browser is a little bit unhappy with me. Stop you. Go ahead and stop. Oh, I might be able to get it back. Maybe. It's thinking about it. Okay, there we go. We're back to running again. Okay, excellent. And I can delete you. And now our input works as expected. The important part here is that there's this complexity. We've moved it into the text input component so that nobody else really has to worry about it. We can use the value property or not. It just will work as expected. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful. And hopefully I just didn't ramble on at the end and undo all the good stuff. So I will see you in the next video where we continue with the editing a task. Thanks. Bye.